What's up, BF fam? This is Big Tone coming at you from Big Tone Productions, Beats and Feasts. It's time for another cooking video, guys. Today we're going to be doing an old favorite of mine called chili mac, or some people may refer to it as chili goulash. But this means a lot to me because it reminds me of the struggles that my parents went through just to put food on the table, although I'd be waiting for chili mac. It was the best thing in the world for me. But in any case, you know, this was a quick, easy meal for them. And it was a major upgrade from Hamburger Helper. Although there's nothing wrong with Hamburger Helper, we had that too. But this is a little healthier alternative, you know, to Hamburger Helper. But before we get started, go ahead and smack that like button, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on that little bell, that little notification sign, so you know when a video comes out from my channel, which is every Friday, just so you know. All right, guys, let's get started with chili mac. As I always do, guys, I'm going to introduce you to my supporting cast. So this is a very simple, very flavorful, and it's a good, healthy alternative, as I said, to Hamburger Helper. But we're going to start with two bottles of tomato sauce, or, you know, this is just Prego. I like Prego because it's a little bit more, you know, Ragu is a little sweeter than Prego, and that's just a personal choice. You can use whatever you like. Then I use large elbow macaroni. I like the large because the small, for me, it doesn't have enough body. But you can use whatever you like. You can use other pasta too. It's not just limited to that, of course. Then, of course, I'm using fresh garlic, lye, seasoning salt. This is nothing more than just basil leaves. Of course, my pink Himalayan sea salt. I have some Italian seasoning, black pepper, cumin. If you guys want to know about cumin, I explained it in one of my other videos, my chili video, by the way. This is the essence of chili to me. And then I'm using some chili powder, guys, okay? The other things I'm using, the main ingredients here, meaning the meats, I'm using some Italian sauces. This happens to be just mild. You can use sweet, you can use hot, depending on your preference. This is also just regular 80-20 ground beef. And then at the end, I'm going to use some cheeses. You can choose whatever cheese you like. I like to use the Italian blend. It melts pretty good. You know, this one particularly has a little bit of Parmesan. It has some provolone, has some fontina in it. And then I also use some sharp cheddar. You know, that's a staple for me. And then the other thing I use is some frozen corn. Frozen corn, it just goes in there and gives it a nice little texture element. I put onion in it, and I put a little bit of mushroom. Really only this time because this is what I had left over from another recipe. And then, of course, I use a little bit of EVO to cook some of the other foods with. But in any case, let's get started with this, okay? All right, so the very first step that we're gonna do is we're gonna brown off the ground beef and the sausage here. So I'm gonna start by the way, I'm using the Copper Chef Pro. If they're out there listening, send me another one. I need another one. I'll do your product right. But I'm gonna start up my Copper Chef Pro here. I'm gonna put it on medium heat. And this thing gets hot very quickly, guys, so it takes no time whatsoever. I'm gonna pour in a little bit of EVO. Not a lot, just a little, because the sausage is gonna add quite a bit of fat for me. And most of the time I don't strain this off, but we're gonna see what it comes out to like today. But I'm gonna add my sausage here. And we're gonna remove the paper that they give us on the back here. All right, guys. Put that in there, and then we're also gonna put in the ground beef. Once this starts to cook a little bit, then I'll push it down and start going ahead and breaking it up a little bit. Let me get rid of some of the juices that were left here. I'll sanitize that in a moment. You always want to keep your station clean, okay, guys? So it's very important. And as you can hear, this thing is already sizzling. I mean, that took a matter of 30 seconds, I think. So we're gonna go ahead and start browning this off and seasoning it up. Right off the bat, guys, before it even starts to sear off really good, I'm gonna add some of my seasonings. The first things I'm gonna be adding here are the basics. I'm gonna be using my Himalayan sea salt. Let me go ahead and add that now for us. All right, guys, and then I'm gonna use my black pepper, of course. And if you guys watch my other videos, you know I'm quite heavy-handed on a pepper. And then I'm gonna sprinkle in some of my Italian seasoning. Gotta give it that Italian flavor. All right. And then I'm gonna add just a tad bit of basil right now. All right, guys, so we're gonna cook this down. Get it nice and brown. At that point, I'll determine whether or not I want to drain off the fat or not. Remember, fat is flavor. It's not always bad. You know, they used to say it was bad because, it was bad for your body, but, now they even say butter is good. So you never know what's going to happen out here in this world. We're going to go ahead and sear this meat off here. As you can see, it's starting to get brown. But I'll give it a few minutes to do. I'll be right back and show you what I add next. All right, BF fam, so as you can see, the meat is cooking down quite well here and it's browning off. So the next thing we're gonna add my onions. Now, normally I probably, depending on how much grease it produces, although this hasn't produced hardly any grease. So we're gonna add the onions in here. I'm not gonna add them all, just about almost all of them. I'm gonna use the rest for garnishment here. And then we're also gonna add the onions, the mushrooms. Can't speak today. But in any case, we're gonna cook these down just a little bit. So realistically speaking, guys, this could be just a one-pot meal. I could keep everything in this one pot, and keep in mind, this does go in the oven. So I could keep everything in this one particular pot, put it in the oven, cook it off, but I'm gonna put it in a separate pan as well. Just because I like to do that. I just keep it separate. So we're gonna cook this down just for a little bit, and then I'm gonna add the tomato sauce here, or the pasta sauce here. I'm gonna add just a little bit more salt to this, okay guys? There we go. And then I'm gonna add a little bit more basil. There we go. The last thing I'm gonna add is my garlic here in just a second. I'm gonna let this cook for just about another 30 seconds or so. Get my garlic prepared here. Now I'm gonna use about, I don't know, maybe 2 tablespoons of garlic. And this is just minced garlic. Give it that garlic flavor. Everything goes better with garlic. Everybody thinks it goes better with bacon, but everything goes better with garlic. All right, we're gonna mix that up a little bit here. And the onions are starting to get a little bit clear. Mushrooms are going to get a little bit reduced here, and they're starting to get a little shiny. You can see them. Next thing we're gonna add is nothing more than just our tomato sauce, or I guess I should say our pasta sauce. I use 2, like I said before, these are 2 24-ounce bottles. I use both of them in there. So basically it's 1 pound of ground beef, 1 pound of sausage, 2 of these 24-ounce bottles of, I use Prego because that's my personal preference. All right. So we're just gonna simply pour that in. Try to get as much out as I can. We don't want to waste anything here. All right. Discard that. And we're going to add the second one. Pour that in here. All right. And we're gonna discard the second bottle here. Matter of fact, I'm just gonna put it off to the side here. And we're gonna stir this up and get everything nicely incorporated. All right, guys. Now, some of you guys are probably sitting there going, you forgot about the chili powder. No, I didn't forget about the chili powder, nor did I forget about the cumin, okay? So we're gonna put a little bit of chili powder in here. This is called chili mac. It's not called spaghetti mac. A little bit of chili powder. Chili powder give it a little bit of heat. Now we're also gonna add this cumin. I use quite a bit of cumin. I love the flavor of cumin. And we're just gonna incorporate that and mix it in. I'm gonna turn down the heat just a little bit. Now you see why this recipe is so simple. It's really just bounding off the ground beef, adding your mushrooms, your onions, and then adding the other ingredients. And then it just goes in the oven, 350 for about 45 minutes until everything gets incorporated. It's really that simple. One step I left off there, but I'll show you that here in just a moment. So we're gonna cook that, and I'm gonna let this simmer here for about 10 minutes. I'll be right back and I'll show you what else I add, okay guys? All right guys, so we're back. I've let this simmer here for about 10 minutes or so, and everything's gotten nicely incorporated together. Next thing, all we're gonna do is I'm gonna add my Lowry seasoning salt. All right, just a little bit to the mixture. The next thing we're gonna add is my macaroni. As you can see, this is large elbow macaroni. So we're just gonna simply add it. I pre-cooked this. When you cook your macaroni, do not cook it all the way done. So give it quite a bit of a bite to it, because this is all gonna go in the oven, so you don't wanna overcook it. All right, let me discard this and put this over here. So you're just gonna incorporate the macaroni into it, stir it up. Make sure it's all covered with sauce and meat. All right, guys, it's starting to look good here. Starting to look good. All right, BFM. So the next thing we're gonna add is whole kernel corn. That's a tongue twister for me. I'm gonna use frozen corn, but we're just gonna add it here. This doesn't need to cook. It's gonna cook in the oven. So I'm simply gonna add the whole bag. I love the corn in it. I like to bite the little corn kernels, you know, so I don't think that the frozen or fresh makes a big difference. It's gonna cook down anyway, so don't be afraid to add it, the frozen. You're gonna mix that up. So now you can see why some people do call it goulash, but I call it chili mac. That's what my mom called it. That's what I'm calling it. I'm sticking with that story. All right, so we incorporated all of this into this mixture here, and I got it on very low simmer, okay? Next thing we're gonna do here, and I'm gonna do this now because it's cooked enough. We're gonna simply just add, I bought 2 containers because I wasn't sure if one's gonna be big enough. Typically, I just put it in a 9x13 Pyrex dish. Like I said, this could be a one pot dish where you could leave it in this, pop that in the oven, and it's a 1-pot dish. But I'm gonna put it in this just simply because I like to. All right, and I like the way it looks. So I'm gonna add this to it. Spread it out, see how much I got. And that looks like enough for that one. I'm gonna add the rest of it to this little bitty pan here. So I'll have 2 pans. I'll probably take the rest of this to work at one point or something. And now I'm gonna turn off that. Gonna spread this out. So I got 2 nice pans of chili mac here. The last thing we're gonna add is our cheese on top, okay? First, I'm gonna start with my Italian blend. Add a little bit to both. I'm gonna spread this out here, just make it evenly coated. All right, guys. Just a tad bit more. Come on, cheese. There we go. Just evenly coat it. And then I'm gonna add a little bit more to this one. And evenly coat it. And then I'm gonna add my sharp cheddar here on top. Give it that nice yellow flavor with the mozzarella underneath, with the Italian blend underneath, I should say. All right, guys, this is looking good, looking good. All right, guys, so there you have it. The next time you see me, you're gonna see me popping this in the oven, and it's usually about 40 minutes, 45 minutes on a 350 oven. I'll be right back. You'll see me at the oven. All right, BFM, so as you can see, I wrap these in aluminum foil just for the sake that I don't want the cheese to burn before the food gets hot underneath. So I got these wrapped up in aluminum foil. And so the next thing, we're just gonna pop them in the oven, 350 for about 40 to 45 minutes, okay, guys? They're in the oven, 350, 40 to 45 minutes. And I'll give you a finished product. So I'm back. It's been about 40, 45 minutes. And you can see how it came out, guys. It looks like it came out just like my mom and dad used to make it for me. But like I said, this is really just an upgrade from Hamburger Helper. I love it. I'm gonna take a scoop out here. As you can see, now when I cooked this, the cheese on here, I covered it up as you saw in the video. But I did cover it up, and then I uncovered it about, I don't know, it was about 15 minutes before it was finished, and so the cheese could get nice and brown, little textures on it. And as you can see, this is wonderful. So I'm gonna take a little bite here, guys. It's hot, it's very hot. As I remember it, comfort food. Chili mac, or some people like to call it chili goulash. But in any case, just as I remember how my mom used to make it for me, if you like this video, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe to the channel. That really helps me grow, and I appreciate all that have done that thus far. But this is a perfect meal for your family when you're rushing to try to get something to eat. Hey guys, this is Big Tone signing off. Peace.